our young people. Oh, so like the fireman are coming from here. Fireman, you can hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, but I'm not seeing you. The people, hold on 1 second. I'm not seeing you, sir. And you know how it is. My audience.
You're seeing me now?
Ah, yes, indeed, my brother. I'm seeing you now. All right, let me just do the switch here. One second. There he is. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, fireman gone. No fire. Fireman, where you gone, man? There he is.
Right here, live and in living colors.
Yeah, I think I need to get you. You need to adjust your camera there, because I'm just seeing your gold chain and thing.
Any better?
No, sir.
Any better now?
A little bit lower, and you'll be in the middle of the screen.
Hold on. What about that?
No, that is not good enough. I wonder if Kevin is here. Can I help you? No.
No, man. I think I should be good now, because it's the same thing that I had set up.
A little bit lower, a little bit lower. So them can see your full handsome face. Ah, there it is. Yes, Papa. Yeah, man. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the incomparable, the talented, the legend, the one and only fireman, Conrad O'Brien, Straight Talk 93 FM. How you doing today, sir?
Hi, my brother. I'm doing well. Thank God. It's a beautiful Saturday afternoon right here in Jamaica land we love, and we bask in the glory of God as we remind ourselves that this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us indeed rejoice and be glad in it.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You still want to adjust a little bit more. You cut off the top of your head and we don't want that. Ah, yes. Right, that's all. Don't move a muscle. You're good. You're good. Yes, all right. Family. So as I said earlier, shout out to Mrs. Nelson. Get well soon. Prayers and blessings. Shout out to the juvenile. I hope you're enjoying your vacation. Shout out to Kane Juice, Donna, Liquor Wicked, man like Natty Norman, Richardo, Sandy W. I'm not going to call out the name because you know nobody know you listen to this thing. And Admiral Tommy and the Rallington crew. Big up on yourself. Yes, fireman. Let me just say something. Let me just say a few things here before you jump in and we just get this thing rolling.
Okay, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this past Tuesday, family, I mentioned that last week I filed a request for documents with the Ministry of Finance regarding the $99,000 that was paid to aid Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith's bid to become the Secretary General of the Commonwealth. The ministry has 30 days to acknowledge my inquiry and provide a response. So far, nothing. But that's okay, because we have a few more weeks before we reach the deadline. Now, this same Minister Johnson-Smith, traveled to Morocco in 2019. And in 2022, the government of Morocco gifted Jamaica with approximately 2.6 million pounds of high-grade fertilizer. Family, you see where I'm going with this, right? 2019, and the fertilizer came in 2022. And when it came in 2022, he said the fertilizer should have arrived much earlier, but because of COVID and the shipping issues, that it was delayed. No, fertilizer prices have been increasing since the war between Russia and Ukraine. Because as most of you know, the Ukraine is a major supplier of fertilizer. And in the diplomatic world, except for humanitarian aid, there is always tit for tat. You scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. And sometimes poor nations trade their votes in the UN for financial and other aid. I'm not saying it was done in this case, but it's just food for thought. Now, in the coming weeks, I will have a former Jamaican diplomat assigned to the UN who will come on this program to discuss this issue, and he will educate us about the inner workings of the UN, and also talk about this particular issue with Jamaica and Morocco, and how Morocco ended up gifting Jamaica 2.6 million pounds of high-grade fertilizer. No, we're not saying, that we're not thankful, but we have to be extremely mindful as to how that fertilizer came to Jamaica. Now, the Moroccan fertilizer that reached the shores of Jamaica has seemingly disappeared, and so questions must be asked. Last week, the Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries welcomed the news that Firsan, a Jamaica fertilizer company, reduced its price marginally for the third time in 2022. Keep in mind, people, fertilizer price through the roof because of demand and the limited supply. Yet, Firsan in Jamaica was able to reduce its price marginally 3 times in 2022. And the minister mentioned that, but he had very little to say about the Moroccan shipment. Well, now follow me, follow me, family. We're not done spot, right? But many questions have arisen as a result of the Moroccan shipment, including a small farmer. Big up yourself. You know who you are. I don't want to call out the name because the people in Jamaica listen, and I don't want, certain things might happen. But a small farmer who was told that she did not qualify to receive any of the fertilizer, she reached out to RADA and she said, listen, I'm hearing about this Moroccan fertilizer. I'm a small farmer. I would like to get some fertilizer. The response was, you don't qualify. So, we just don't like sitting down and just talking and not doing anything. So, in addition to the paperwork I filed, and I'm still waiting for a response, today, I know it's Saturday, but when they get in the office on Monday, it will be waiting for them. I filed an access to information request with the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries concerning the fertilizer. Let's see what happens. But in the meantime, I have something I'd like to read before, and I know the fireman want to blaze some fire. But let me just read this. This is what I sent to the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries today. Dear Sir, Madam, I write to request information/documents under the Access to Information Act of 2002. In March 2022, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Kamina Johnson-Smith, announced the receipt of a gift from Morocco in the form and amount of high-grade fertilizer weighing approximately 2.6 million pounds, respectively. Since the minister's announcement, the Jamaican government has provided very little, if any, information regarding the storage, security, distribution, etc. of the fertilizer. It recently came to my attention that Jamaican farmers in general are unaware of this gift and, consequently, have not requested an allotment from the government. I have also been given the understanding that farmers who became aware of this gift petitioned RADA for assistance and were told that they did not qualify. Given the growing concern regarding the whereabouts of the distribution chain, the security of, and the qualifications to receive the Moroccan fertilizer gifted to the government of Jamaica, I respectfully request the following. Information regarding the basis and circumstances surrounding the offer and acceptance of the fertilizer from Morocco to Jamaica. Information regarding any report to the donor, that is Morocco, regarding the distribution of fertilizer to Jamaican farmers. 3. Information regarding the dates, importation, and receipt of the Moroccan fertilizer by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade and or the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries. 4. Information regarding the dates and distribution of said fertilizer from the mentioned government ministries, that is, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade and Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, to RADA, the Banana Board, and other pertinent government entities for distribution to Jamaican farmers. 5. Information regarding the dates of any distribution of any portion of the aforementioned fertilizer to any private individual, private concern, or quasi-government entities. 6. Information regarding the amount of Moroccan fertilizer that has been distributed, to whom, in what quantity, and how much remains to be distributed. Forget about the numbers. We'll just continue. Information evidencing whether the Moroccan fertilizer was and or is still stored at a government-owned or leased facility or at a private storage facility. Information evidencing the security apparatus employed to safeguard the Moroccan fertilizer from theft during transportation and at the storage facility. Information regarding any theft, officially reported or otherwise, of any portion of the Moroccan fertilizer. Information regarding the requirements for farmers to receive allotments of the Moroccan fertilizer from the Jamaican government. Information regarding the number, name, and location of farmers who are in receipt of the Moroccan fertilizer. Information regarding the amount of Moroccan fertilizer remaining in the government's control and the farmers who will receive the balance. Information regarding the total weight of the Moroccan fertilizer that has been distributed to farmers. Information regarding the proof of sale, in full or part, of the Moroccan fertilizer to any individual or entity. And, finally, information evidencing whether some or all of the Moroccan fertilizer was conveyed on consignment. And if it was, the terms of the agreement and the identity of the parties. It does not appear that the requested information or documents fall within the enumerated exceptions of the law. Therefore, I look forward to the acknowledgement of receipt and the requested information within the statutory 30-day period. Respectfully, Wilfred Rattigan. So, family, that's where we are with this thing here. And in fact, I got a call from a very dear friend of mine today in Jamaica. And he said, listen, your program, along with a program like the Fireman program, those programs, they're bringing light to what's going on. They're educating, enlightening the Jamaican people. Because he said to me, this Moroccan fertilizer thing, we not hear about it. Nobody know hear nothing about it. And so I want to know if there's a connection between the fertilizer and FERSON dropping its price in 3 times when prices have skyrocketed. And you know it go. Them companies that them not give away nothing. Not even at Christmas time. To consumers. So something you know something, but you know it go already now. Right? We have on the lawyer, we have on the investigator, and we have on the fireman hat. So we go and dig till we get this. Big up yourself, Carolyn and Earl. So, all right. Now that we get that behind us, fireman, talk to the people. Oh, by the way, folks, join the conversation. The number is on the screen, 667-369-8569, and it's a WhatsApp number. So if you're in Jamaica, it not cost you anything, right? Maybe some airtime or whatever. But if you live near what you call it?
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi. If you're near Wi-Fi, see? Tell us I don't know nothing about technology. But I know if you dig, I know if you dig for information. But fireman, welcome again. Talk to the people.
All right, thanks again for welcoming me. And indeed, it is a pleasure as usual joining Wilfred. And I want to, as usual, hail up everyone here at home in Jamaica and indeed across the diaspora and by extension across the globe, because we know that we're indeed global. And I want to say to you, my friend, Mr. Rattigan, that I really want to applaud you for your due diligence and the level of commitment that you have displayed. It's indeed one of the things that's certainly lacking in mainstream media, and I dare say on social media, Because what we're accustomed to and social media is a lot of cascas, quote unquote. And indeed, we want to be different, and this platform that we occupy. As a matter of fact, here and Reggae Global Radio, that persons are listening on, and indeed on the various platforms. I want to say to you, my friend, Mr. Rattigan, and indeed our listeners and viewers, that first and foremost, I'm a human being. Happens to be born in Jamaica, and indeed very, very grateful and thankful for that. So I can call myself a citizen of Jamaica. Now, I am putting forward that preamble there to say that, like everybody else, I do have my political preference or preferences. However, when it comes to this platform, my radio show, a Newstalk 93 FM, based at the University of the West Indies, Mona, in the parish of St. Andrew, Jamaica, I bring my A game and a level of professionalism to the podium, I would dare say second to none. Therefore, persons from either side of the political divide may get a little bit uncomfortable from time to time based on my utterances, because as you all know, I pride myself as the man who speaks truth to power, no matter who the guy is. That has been a run-up indeed. Earlier this week, we were on another outfit called Make We Talk, that hosted by Jeffrey Tavares, and we ventilated a lot of issue on that platform. I also took to a WhatsApp group, and in that WhatsApp group, I made it clear that I think the opposition must be extremely careful. That's the opposition PNP led by Mark Golding, must be extremely careful how they are endorsing and getting into bed with this latest quote-unquote crime-fighting proposal by the government of Jamaica, led by Andrew Michael Brogard Holness, the most honorable. It's called the Pre-Detention Act. And when I peruse that document in a limited way, because I've not gone through it in a full way, and I'm sure that you have it there with you, Wilford, and we can ventilate. Mm-hmm. But on the face of it, it certainly does not sit well with me, with an opposition that did the right thing for the people of Jamaica in not supporting extension of the SOE. But on the other hand, would even contemplate looking at this document because, or supporting this rather, because in my humble view, this is state of emergency through the back door, and it can be even more egregious because it's so much garnished with fraud and flaws. So much to say that it simply means that anybody could come and put forward an argument that Wilford Rattigan is a crime producer, all the police would need to do is to come and pick you up. Granted, it is said that there's some amount of judicial work that will get into the mix on the back end. However, all the police need to do is to act on that and basically pick you up, and they would detain you. And the detention can continue for an inordinate period of time. Certainly, I think the first tranche is 14 days, right? But it will be able to go on and on based on my understanding. No, it can't be that in the name of crime fighting, we whittle away, and I'm looking for my notes here, we whittle away the rights of the Jamaican people. The present minister, that is Marlene Malahou, that's looked at the constitutional matters and so on. People call her the constitutional minister, or some, I forgot the exact title of that ministry. But it's a ministry that was recently created. When she was the Attorney General, she raised the argument that indeed we may have to suspend justiciable rights, and we might have to abridge and abrogate the rights of the Jamaican people. No, I don't know that that is what the Jamaican people signed up for. The chairman of the Police Federation, no less a person than the hardworking Corporal Ron James, said in front of the Commissioner of Police and the Minister of National Security last week, Sunday, I think, at a funeral of one of his colleagues, that we don't need state of emergency. He said in my program and elsewhere that what we need is proximity policing. For my listeners, or our listeners and viewers, proximity policing is simply regular policing, being in the community, the boots on the ground with whatever level of saturation you need. And that can be obtained and achieved by without any SOE or any pre-detention. And I think the rubber will hit the road very, very hard on this. I believe there is a toss-up now, because the thing is so fluid here in Jamaica that there is an argument now as to who proposed the pre-charge detention bill. The opposition said that it came from them. And the government, in the quest to claim or to cling on to something, is actually saying it was their idea. However, whoever idea it is certainly not something that I think should find favor with the majority of the Jamaican people, because this is another piece of tool that will be given to law enforcement in their tool basket to use to abrogate and abridge the rights of the Jamaican people.
Well, thank you, my brother. By the way, folks, remember the telephone number is 1-667-369-8569. That's 1-667-369-8569. And also, the chat room is open. Big up yourself again, Carolyn. Folks, you can drop us a line or give us a call. we'd be more than happy to engage you in the conversation. Now, my brother just laid out a whole set of facts and circumstances and issues concerning the pre-arrest. It's the Bail Act. But he also...
Yes, it's the section of the Bail Act.
Yeah, but he also talked about SOE, and so I have to jump in here and when you know me already, I have to do my research when I talk to you because I can't afford to come on the program and just laba. No, that's not my style. When me come here, I come with facts. No. The SOE, first of all, let me go back and say, even I heard it this week from MP Philip Paulwell, because he made a statement saying that the PNP will suffer at the polls because of the fact that the party refused to sign on the extension.
Which I personally believe is a piece of nonsense.
Right. No, he said because the government doesn't have a crime plan and blah, 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 blah. No, folks, I said it last week. And I have it here, and I'll go into it later on. But look, there is a crime plan. I don't know how much time I'm going to say it. There is a crime plan. Stop asking for the crime plan. The crime plan is called Plan Secure Jamaica, and it's a national security plan. It's included in that. Now, included in that, they call enhanced security measures, which is state of emergency and those are special operation. Exactly, my brother. Right? Now, where do they get the authority for this enhanced security measure in the Constitution? Where? It's right here. It's right here. It's chapter 3 of the Constitution. It's called the Chapter of Fundamental Rights and Freedoms. And if you go to section 20, subsection, if you go to subsection 20, it starts telling you what is, it defines what is a period of public disaster. And in doing so, guess what? It mentions the most important politician or non-politician, the most important official in Jamaica, and that is the Governor General. No, make nobody tell you nothing otherwise. I've been through the Constitution, right? And I've been through the website for the GG. Right. And if anybody disbelieve what I'm saying, go check it out for yourself. This Constitution is riddled everywhere you look. It's the GG. The GG. He's in charge of the legislature. He's in charge of executive. He's in charge of appointing people. He's in charge of SOE and ZOZO. Now, they got that from section 20, and it says a period of public emergency is one if Jamaica is engaged in war. We know Jamaica is engaged in maybe war with the criminals, but not war with a foreign nation. So that doesn't count. Number 2, a public emergency period means any period during which there is in force a proclamation by the Governor General declaring that a state of public emergency exists. So people open to understand the Prime Minister cannot declare a state of public emergency. Only the Governor General can, based on the Constitution, right? Or number 3, if there is in force a resolution of each House of Parliament supported by the votes of a 2/3, and that would be in the case where you get an extension. That would be the case where you get an extension for the state of emergency. Now, same section 20, interpretation. It says that a proclamation made by the Governor General shall not be effective for the purposes of blah, 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 unless it is declared that the Governor General is satisfied. Hear the language? If the Governor General is satisfied. I open to understand how much power this man wields. Open to understand that. Go back and read the Constitution, people. I beg you. And then go to his website and read. But for those of you who don't have the time, or those of you who unfortunately cannot read this language and understand it, that's why the fireman and the rebel are here to break it down for you. It says that if he's satisfied, the Governor General, is satisfied that a public emergency has arisen as a result of the imminence of a state of war between Jamaica and a foreign state. So the Governor General can call a state of emergency for that. He can also call a state of emergency if there's a public disaster, earthquake, hurricane, flood, fire, outbreak of pestilence, blah, 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 blah. COVID.
Or what we saw happen there in West Kingston when the extradition warrant was issued for Christopher Douglas.
Yeah, thief me thunder, man. Let me jump in at the thing. I don't know. Yeah, thief me thunder, man. So,
sorry.
and actually, fireman. No, man, no words. Actually, that's number 2, but me skip it and go to number 3. You know, for effect. So,
okay, Rebel.
Yeah. So remember, people, if Jamaica is at war with a foreign state, the Governor General can proclaim public emergencies. If there's a public disaster, COVID, earthquake, he can do it. And the third one is this. It says here that action has been taken or is immediately threatened by any person or body of persons of such a nature and on so extensive a scale as to be likely to endanger the public safety. There's a second piece to that having to do with if you deprive somebody, a community, of supplies or services. I guess that probably applies to the politician. But we'll just stick to that one piece there. The first clause in section 2B, 20 subsection 2B. Now, here is the problem with it. It says that action has been taken or is immediately threatened by any person or body of persons of such a nature and on so extensive a scale as to be likely to endanger the public safety. Now, the first thing that comes to mind with this is a serial killer. The Governor General could under this, he could say, I'm declaring a state of public emergency because there's a serial killer who is involved in action of such a nature and so extensive a scale as to be likely to endanger the public safety. But before we get to that, there is another piece, and I don't understand them lawyers that all them don't see it. I don't understand all the government lawyers, all the politicians. I don't understand all the bar association, the opposition, their lawyers. I don't understand how they don't see it. It says that action has been taken or is immediately threatened by any person or body of persons. First thing that comes to mind, identification. If you're going to call a state of emergency, it has to be because of something that a person or a body of persons, right, is involved in. So the question is, who are you declaring the state of emergency against? Who? Here is what we've heard from the government. We're declaring a state of emergency because there's an uptick in the homicide rate. This doesn't talk about a condition per se. It talks about who causes the condition. It says those are the people you have to go after. They're going after a condition. They're saying there's an uptick in violence we're going in. But they're supposed to tell you who. Now, they've said publicly that there are 300 violence producers. So they know them. So instead of declaring a public emergency, state of public emergency, against an entire community, why don't you, as they say, spearfish instead of netfish? Why don't you spearfish and go after the people that you know are violence producers instead of inconveniencing the community and abrogating, and the rest are big words we're going to use.
Abridged.
Abridged, yeah. Their rights, because you lose some of your rights guaranteed under the chapter of fundamental rights and freedoms under state of emergency.
Indeed.
Jumping.
Rebel.
Yes, sir.
Just to come in on that, because you enumerate a number of issues that had the state of emergency was just designed to be called on or to support by the Governor General willy-nilly, as we have been seeing happening. Recently, we heard of a scenario, a real case scenario in St. Thomas, where a young girl was basically taken away and molested. And just on the heel of recovering that first young girl that was taken away, her cousin or some family member or another young girl was abducted by it is presumed to be the same individual. Therefore, the Governor General, if by ways of deduction, if this is how state of emergencies was supposed to be used, by reason of deduction, the Governor General could issue a proclamation for a state of emergency in St. Thomas against this gentleman, because indeed, by virtue of his action, all young girls would be at risk if we're to take it literally.
Mm-hmm.
Are you there with me?
Yes, I'm listening. I'm listening, my brother. I'm listening.
So Rebel, the state of emergency, and we cannot overemphasize this, must be used sparingly and must be used with the interpretation, the strict interpretation of the Constitution, because our founding fathers understand exactly how draconian this piece of legislation can be in terms of abridge and abrogate. It's not easy when someone knows that they're innocent, and you're carted out in our state of emergency, or what is now being proposed.
Yes, indeed.
The pre-detention. It's not easy when you know that you're innocent and you are carted off in that way. And our legislature must do the work. They must do the work. The government of the day, the police commissioner, the chief of defense staff in the army, they must do their work. It cannot be that because of, to go with the prime minister word, 300 violence producer. I don't know what that really means, that word, but nonetheless, 300 violence producer, child prefer to say, violence producers are out there. And as a result of that, you're going to inconvenient majority of your citizens, especially those that found themselves in the lower quintile. So from an economics point of view and so on, and just by way of the geographical space that they occupied, called home. Can't be.
No, cannot be. And let me jump in on that. Here it gets even more interesting, folks. And Jamaicans living in Jamaica, well, Jamaicans on the whole, but particularly those living in Jamaica, who are subjected to this draconian measure. Listen to me carefully. Listen to the fireman carefully. Here is a significant point that you need to pay attention to. Bring this to your MP's attention. There were 2 cases brought to court regarding states of emergency and detention. I'll just focus on one of them. It's called Everton Douglas et al. I think there were about 5 people that were picked up. And they spent somewhere between 4.5 months to over
480 days.
Over a year in jail without being charged or anything. They were just picked up and just dumped in jail, right? So they brought a case, and in 2020, the court ruled that the detention was unlawful. So there are 2 cases that have said that stand for the proposition that the detention under the states of emergency, they're unlawful. Now, what happened? The government decided to appeal. The matter is on appeal. But while the matter is on appeal, hold on one second. While the matter is on appeal, they are conducting the SOEs in the same fashion that the court ruled against. Now, my understanding of the law is that when a court, if you go to a court of original jurisdiction and they rule against you, you have to stop doing what you're doing, and then you appeal. And then the appellate court will either agree or disagree with you. And then you either restart, or you continue along the lines of the court if they disagree with you. But in this case, they're doing the same thing that the court ruled against. Now, the Governor General is aware of this. And in his position, he's supposed to be, this is what it says on his website, non-partisan, and he's supposed to render independent and objective guidance to the government of the day. Now, how can you say that this man is a man of high morals and that he respects the law and he's all about good governance when you have a court? You have 2 court rulings against the government, and he knows about it. And then he's still signing off on states of emergency for the government to continue to do what the court ruled against. People, family, I hope if you don't understand what I say, give me a call. 667-369-8569. 667-369-8569. Or give me a shout in the chat room. Because if you don't understand what I say, me need enough reach out to me, communicate with me and the fireman. I say, listen, I don't understand that point. So we can elucidate. Take that order from the fireman. Elucidate.
Rebel.
Yes, sir.
I want to jump in here because, we have to make it clear to our people that we prepare, we research, and we do our work. And the information, I was just looking through my document here. This basically case was against the action was brought against the Minister of National Security and indeed the Justice and also the police commissioner. And in one particular instance, $17 million plus and counting paid out to one individual. We here in mainstream media, both print and electronic, we have carried the story over and over that we could see a floodgate open in terms of lawsuit, and the print would have carried inches of communique or of literature on this, because is only, in my view, is the mercy of God why a number of cases have not brought against the government of Jamaica, because here is a template. And what we have seen, there are several individuals, several young men that had suffered the same fate as a Everton Douglas. So it's not cut and dry. It's nowhere over. And our good friend Bert Samuels enumerate this point over and over to say that the government must understand that you cannot govern the way they are doing. And there is a mere fear factor now with this pre-detention act that is being argued now, that in itself would be ushered detention act that is being argued now, that in itself would be ushered
Coming out shaky girl. Yeah, man, he that know the right and do the wrong shall be spanked with many stride. When the heathen are come, your children step wise. Even though they make mention of them and those, fire them will never be friend. Fire burn. You know why? You know why? Yes, them have the heart of a pagan. Your children have the heart of a lion, I know. Evil a move with Satan. Righteous trod in the countenance of the Almighty One. Them have the heart of demons. Your children have the heart of a lion, I know. Evil a move with Satan. Righteous walk in the countenance of the Almighty One. Good people see hostility rising daily. Ignorant multiply brutality. We I see that they run gone left mommy. Fish struggle the hard road with 5 beginning. Our I see baby having baby. Nothing that happen no do not seems to amaze we. We know that is the fulfillment of prophecy. Our I see them no build school is church and penitentiary. Church dead the penitentiary never empty. Still playing a mental trick on me. Listen, you check you and me check me, and let's bring more love in the black community. Them have the heart of a pagan. Your children have the heart of a lion, I know. Evil a move with Satan. Righteous walk in the countenance of the Almighty One. No, them have the heart of demons. Your children have the heart of a lion, I know. Evil a move with Satan. Righteous walk in the countenance of the Almighty One. Respect the father of the prophet Moses and Abraham. You have to respect the father of Jacob and Solomon. Respect the creator of many nations. He made the birds, he made the bees, the fishes of the ocean, and fasten them together with his mighty. And he made the man, he make woman, children, the future of the land. So who is due to disrespect the creator man? 72 nations bow down and crown him conquering one. It would be beautiful in the sight of God the Holy One to see the unification of my nation. Them have the heart of a pagan.
Watch them.
Your children have the heart of a lion, I know. Evil a move with Satan. Righteous walk in the countenance of the Almighty One. Them have the heart of demons. Your children have the heart of a lion, I know. Evil a move with Satan. Righteous walk in the countenance of the Almighty One. Poor people see hostility rising daily. Ignorant multiply brutality. We I see daddy run gone left mommy to struggle the hard road with 5 bikini. Our I see baby having baby. Nothing that happen no do not seems to amaze we. We know that is the fulfillment of prophecy. Our I see them no build school is church and penitentiary. Church dead the penitentiary never empty. Still playing a mental trick on me. Believe me, them have the heart of a pagan. Your children have the heart of a lion, I know. Evil a move with Satan. Righteous walk in the
I'm gonna stay by your side now that you makes me I never thought that I would say this, but now I know that it's the truth, that I don't ever wanna lose this special feeling that I feel with you. And though I try to be a good girl and never reaching to do wrong, I don't know what I'd do to someone who try to do you any harm. 'Cause there was no sun in my life, and no ray of hope.
MRE Entertainment, in association with VPAL Distribution, presents the brand new hit single.
I can't stop loving you.
Hi, I'm Robert French, and you're listening to my new song,
every day of my life.
Now available on all major digital platforms.
Every day of my life will be I just loving you. Spending the rest of my life always I just loving you. Every day of my life will be I just loving you. Spending the rest of my life always.
Ladies, lovers of the music, it is here, the brand spanking new album from Ed Robinson and Ian Sweetness, a tribute to Teddy Pendergrass. Amazing. 10 blazing tracks, 2 amazing singers going hit for hit, classic for classic. A tribute to Teddy Pendergrass, Ian Sweetness, Ed Robinson. Oh man. Is out now. Available everywhere. iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your music, it is there. A tribute to Teddy Pendergrass, brand spanking new, Ian Sweetness, and Robinson. Ladies, gentlemen, you've got to have this in your collection. Get it now. Available everywhere. Bruv, my last baby already gone off to college, mate. Is what this is saying, come gimme, man. It's a big album, still I love it. Big up Ed Robinson, Ian Sweetness,
Straight
but this better come with a
out of
contraceptive.
the heavy beat vault to your ears.
Greetings, this is Marlon Burrell, and you're locked in to Reggae Global Radio, where we get high on reggae.
Heavy Beat Records presents from the Heavy Beat Vault new releases, the classics and the hits. Saturdays from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Reggae Global Radio. Purchase info available at www.heavybeatreggae.com and all digital platforms.
One dance can do, one dance can do, one dance can do. Listen that.
Love it when the girl dem a want. Jack it up, me select, and you fi fling it again. If a girl can't want, she have to give me a friend.
In a love style.
Girl, you love it every time. Girl, you know me love it when you want.
I wanna love you, hold you, console you, tease you, please you. In a love style.
Girl, you love it every time. Girl, you know the wine you're undefined.
In a love
Girl, you know we love it every time.
I wanna kiss you and caress you. Girl, I wanna work you up my body onto you, tease you and please you. In a love style.
Bad man love it every time. Girl, you know me love it when you whine.
Girl, I wanna love you, hold you, console you, tease you, please you. In a love style.
What a rub, what a tub, what a roll. Oh, what a rub, oh, life. Babylon, it just a mash up my 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 life. Oh, way. We live in a rough old life. Starvation, tribulation, trying to keep a dreadlock style. Oh, what a rough old life. It's our time. It's our time. We live in a rough old life. Life, like a dry and a empty well. We're making up a human end. Oh, what a rough old life. Every day things get harder and harder. It's getting kinda hard now. Still I keep my vision of being in Judge's kingdom. Oh well, it's not all
Welcome to Reggae Global Radio, where we get high on reggae music.
Tick-tock, you don't stop, stop. To the hard tick-tock, you don't stop, stop. To the hard tick-tock, you don't stop, stop. To the hard tick-tock, you don't stop, stop.
The Make We Talk program do not own the copyrights to the song that is being played. We rejoin Wilfred Rattigan and Conrad O'Brien.
Here until we complete our investigation. And then they go to a justice of the peace or to a constable. And then they agree with them. Then they go to a judge. I think it's like 4 days later. 48 hours and then 48 hours. And then the judge says, okay, fine. You see the predicament that you're in. That you, meaning the detainee, you're sitting there without being charged, just detained. And you have to suffer through this process. And God knows how long they're going to take before they release you. Now, there's another thing here. They have called these people violence producers. Right, some of these people that they've detained previously, and probably some of them are still in detention right now. But the Constitution of Jamaica says that you're innocent until proven guilty.
Well, Rebel, stick up in there, because that is something that is right now being discussed earnestly. Can a lawsuit be brought to the government and the government of Jamaica, which the taxpayers of Jamaica will have to foot that bill, for persons who are detained under the auspices of being a violence producer?
I'm listening.
Yes, now I'm asking the question because if you wrongfully accuse me and put me in jail under the broad ambit that I'm a violence producer, you have me there for 5-6 days, nothing comes of it, but I was taken up. Everybody in my community know this. Conrad was taken into custody because he's deemed to be a violence producer. So my entire reputation is tarnished. I may very well lose even my job. My family may now start to look at me in a different light, because there is a notion here in Jamaica that if it no goes up,
it nearly goes up. Right. Let me just say something.
So from a legal standpoint, are you seeing any recourse there or any loophole there for lawsuits?
Well, look, anybody can sue anybody at any time, and this one, I think, would be, and I think this one would be justified. I mean, it would be, I think, based on the court's decisions already, and then the fact that they continue to do this. We don't know what the appeals court is going to say, but as it now stands, they shouldn't be doing this based on the previous decisions. They shouldn't be doing this. And like you said before, if you pick somebody up and you put them there, what recourse do they have? Then they'll have to go to court, and then it will become a constitutional issue. By the way, for those of you who are experiencing some difficulty with the transmission, the maestro Kevin, I think, is working on it working on those difficulties in the background. So hopefully we can, not hopefully, I know Kevin will definitely sort these things out.
Mm-hmm. Once again, repeat the numbers just for in case persons want to join in.
Yeah, the number is 667-369-8569. That's 667-369-8569. And of course,
good. And I think our friend Jeffrey wanted to join in. But what I think you could do with Wilford is give him the calling number.
That's the calling number.
Could call and make
that's the calling number.
A point.
My dear friend, Mr. Tavares, if you would like to join us, sir, the number is 667-369-8569. So, give us a call. There it is. There it is. Kevin is doing his thing, man. That's why we call him the maestro, and that's why he gets paid the big bucks around here. He would disagree, but let's see him pay stubs. But yeah, so there we are. We have some serious problems. We have some serious problems with the Bail Act as proposed. And then also last week, for those of you who weren't with us, we looked at the Firearms Act and we talked about fireman got dropped off, so there he is. And fireman, I was just no, he's gone again. Okay. There you go. Yes, fireman, can you hear me? Fireman, can you hear me? You have to unmute. Oh, Kevin is working his magic. Well, while Kevin is doing that, let me just proceed because time is flying. I mean, that program, we can't do them program for like 3-4 hours because we have so much material. I mean, it's just amazing. But, fireman, can you hear me? No, can't hear me. All right. Anyway, folks, one of the things I promised to talk about this week is the
I'm not hearing.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right. Well, Kevin is working on that. The challenges of technology, folks. These things happen, but the show must go on. So, last week we talked about the fact that in the Bail Act itself, the minister, that's the Minister of National Security, he has the right under Section 19 to declare an amnesty, right? I'm not sure if he has the power to declare a firearms amnesty. I'm not sure what role the Governor General will play in that.
Straight out of the heavy beat vault to your ears.
To deal with that. But in any event, the government can...
Repeat that, Wilford.
Under Section
Please.
19 of the new Firearms Act of 2022, the minister may, by order subject to affirmative resolution, declare a firearms amnesty if the minister is satisfied that it will result in the reduction in the number of illegally possessed firearms in Jamaica.
Yes, he could do that.
Right.
He could do that on his own. Yes.
Right. Now,
without getting that proclamation from the
Governor.
judge.
All right. Now, here's the problem. Here is an interesting thing. And for those of you who heard it last week, bear with me, right? Because I'm trying to get the other people who didn't listen, get them up to speed, particularly those listening in Jamaica for the first time. There is a second amnesty period in the Firearms Act. And that second amnesty period is found in Section 52. So in Section 19, the minister can declare the amnesty, which he did for 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. But in Section 52, it says, subject to Section 54, a person who comes into possession of any firearm or ammunition shall, within 5 days after coming into such possession, deliver the firearm or ammunition to the sub-officer in charge of the police station or the authority, blah, blah, blah. So, if you're a farmer and you find a weapon in your field, you have 5 days to turn that weapon in. That's the second amnesty period, right? But if you tell me about the firearm that you found, I have 24 hours to report that to the government. Right? Hold on 1 second. I think this might be Mr. Caller. How are you? Welcome to Reason with Rattigan. You're on live with the fireman and the rebel. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, fireman and rebel.
Ah, good friend.
How you doing, our good friend, Jeffrey? But
I am doing good. I am doing good. First, I must commend the son of the soil from Waterhouse, Wilfred Rattigan, for his good work that he's doing. With this new bill act that they have, I have a concern. If I am driving my convertible BMW or Mercedes-Benz or any convertible car, and I go to a pharmacy in the heart of Halfway Tree, park my car, then put on the covering on the top of it, go to the pharmacy, come back in, get what I have to get, come back in the car and drive out, and police stop me. And somebody drop a gun underneath the seat and I didn't know. I'm going to be locked up until they investigate the situation based on what I'm hearing about this new bill act.
Go ahead, my brother.
Yes, yes, based on the fact that the amnesty has now ended, because this amnesty closed on the 19th of November. The 19th of November. And the question I was going to ask Mr. Rattigan now, that second
grace period,
right of the church, the grace period there,
yes.
What becomes of that now? Is that still in vogue?
No. You see how silly these people are when they draft these legislation. You see how silly it is?
Sorry, it ended with what we call the sunset clause in that amnesty.
Yeah, but you see how short-sighted the lawmakers are and the people and the lawyers who drafted this, because the point that our good friend Mr. Tavares raised is a significant one, because he could turn around and say to them, I found this gun today, and under the law, I have 5 days to turn it in. And I'm on my way to turn it in. I just stop here to do some business, whatever, but I'm on my way to turn it in. Now, under Section 52, there's nothing they can do to him. But if Mr. Tavares told me 2 days ago that he found this weapon, under the same section 52, right? I'm sorry, under section 54, right? I have to report it to the police.
Within that 24.
But gentlemen, the question must be asked. We have an attorney. We have a former attorney general who is the Minister of Constitution and Legal Affairs. She's a former High Court judge.
No, not a former High Court judge. She was a magistrate. She wasn't a real judge. A magistrate.
Magistrate, yes. We have the
not a real
president of the Senate who is a lawyer, and other lawyers inside the Parliament and so forth. But the question must be asked. Are these people drafting legislation for the poor class of Jamaicans, or are they drafting legislation to...
I don't know, because when you read 52, right, and you read 54, one says you have 5 days, and the other one says you have 24 hours to report the matter to the police. So I mean, this is, but here's another one, right? Now, I went and I looked at the Firearms Act, and I saw I saw where there's a version that's online and there's another version that was sent to me, and one said final, and so I'm not sure which one it is. But
Rebel, I would like one of our listeners to basically just share with us what the word convoluted means.
Well, you're right. You're right, because here's the thing, right? In section 18, right? In one of the versions I saw, it says, a person shall not, in order to gain an unlawful benefit or cause apprehension to any person, profess to have or to have access to a firearm. So if I said to you, fireman, you owe me some money now, you know, pay me, and boy, I'm going to shot you. Now you can turn around and go to the police and say, I'm in fear of my life. This man says he's going to shoot me. I know I'm being charged for that. And face, I think, I forgot what it is. I think it's face up to 5 years. Right? Up to 5 years. Or, if, let's say, fireman, you and I have a dispute, then you can get our good friend, Mr. Tavares, and you can gang up on me, and you go to the police and say, oh, no, hear me, him can say, him hear me tell you that me I go shoot you, even though I never said that. Guess what? Under this law, the police have to bangle me up. He have to bangle me up. Because now you're in apprehension. This is one of the versions I saw. No, I'm not sure if this is the... Go ahead.
So that means, Mr. Rattigan and Mr. O'Brien, that there is some leak hole or some other stuff that is in that legislation that makes no damn sense. And it is going to infringe on the fundamental rights of the Jamaican people.
You join us a little bit later, Mr. Tavares, but that's exactly what we have been doing from the beginning of the program at 4 o'clock. We have been ventilating, we have been picking it apart and highlighting all of these things to our brothers and sisters. That's what we have been doing with this, because we have seen where it is fraught with so much danger as it relates to the citizenry of Jamaica losing their fundamental rights.
So Mr. Rattigan and Mr. O'Brien, Jamaica has an attorney general. We hear nothing from the attorney general. Is it that when these decisions are being formulated, that the attorney general don't do anything about it?
Yes, indeed, the attorney general, when they're contemplating the law, the attorney general is a part of that mix. The attorney
front and center.
Yes,
should be.
Yes, the attorney
so
general.
if the attorney general is front and center, how is it that there are so many things in this thing that makes no sense?
Well, you know what? That's why the defense lawyers are going to have a field day with this in Jamaica. They're going to have a field day with this. I mean,
you know, and I yesterday was Friday. Yes, I heard our good friend Bert Samuels elsewhere, and you know what Bert was saying when they were somebody sent a message in, a listener sent a message in and said that, you know, the lawyers sounds as if basically everything that come to curb crime, they are shooting it down, and it seems as if the lawyers are supporting criminals. And Bert Samuel's response to it was, listen, if we were supporting criminals, then we would go along with this. We'll just basically support this, because in truth and in fact, this is indeed cash cows for attorney.
Yes.
Attorney will make much more money, because more people are there for them to defend. So when attorney comes out and highlighting these things, is that as a result of them being on the side of the criminals? Is as a result of basically informing Jamaicans of their rights and their liberty?
Now, let me just segue a little bit. Let me just divert a little bit from what we're talking about. And let's talk about this crime plan business that has gotten people, you know, twisted simply because the government hasn't produced one. As I said before, there is one. It's called the National Security Plan, which cascades into Plan Secure Jamaica. That's the plan that they talk about, right? And it's a national security plan. It deals with crime, it deals with borders, it deals with a whole bunch of things. And in fact, the Prime Minister himself told me this at Vale Royal in 2018. He told me that the crime plan should be morphed into a national security plan because he wants to protect all of Jamaica, not just from the corner boys, but from transnational organized crimes, from drug smoke, the whole range of things, and that's commendable. But the way he's going about it's similar to the way they go about the state of emergency, is just completely wrong. The state of emergency, to be clear, family, it's legal. It's the way it's implemented.
Indeed.
That's the problem. The state of emergency is fine, but it's just the way it's being carried out. No, this plan secured Jamaica, and somebody was asking me, why is it that I don't go into detail? But the thing is, again, remember, this program is for the 80 to 85, 90% of the people, that have been neglected by the government, that the government, they don't respond to them. And so what I have to do is I have to make sure that the farmer who can read, that he understands what I'm saying. So that's why we have to break it down. And then sometimes we can't even go into, that's why sometimes we can't even go into the details of it. What we have to do is just say, look, it's so confusing that most people won't even understand. Plan Secure Jamaica, it has, again, I'll repeat, it has 10 strategic focal areas. That's broken down into 6 strategic elements. I won't even read them. And then it goes into 5 pillars. So we go from 10 to 6 to 5. And it was being implemented by a JDF Colonel, Roderick Williams, not the police, Roderick Williams. My sources are telling me he's no longer there. This is another discussion, militarizing the police. But anyway, then we go to the and that's where they have the clear hold and build the Zozo. Then we go to the Plan Secure Jamaica, and the Plan Secure Jamaica, that also has that's the one I just mentioned. I'm sorry, the National Security Plan that has 15 capabilities, 15 key capabilities, 8 strategic security goals, and an action plan. That's the National Security Plan. That leads us into the Plan Secure Jamaica, which has the 6 strategic elements and the 5 pillars. Right? This is all nonsense, people. Come out with a crime plan and just explain to the people what's going on. That's all they have to do. Just come out with a crime plan. No. One other thing there. Let me just find this thing here. No, here's what happened. In 2020, just before the election, the private sector, the government, the opposition, civil society, they got together and they came up with something called Consensus on Crime, right? It was signed by a bunch of luminaries. Andrew Holness, Most Honorable, Dr. Peter Phillips, Lloyd Distance. Lloyd Distance is from the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce. He's the man who's spearheading this. Mm-hmm. Keith Duncan, PSOJ, Reverend Newton Dixon, Jamaica Council of Churches, and so on, and so on, and so on, including Dr. Trevor Monroe and Janet Silvera, and so on and so forth. Now, what they did with this plan, follow me, people. National Security Plan, it came down into Plan Secure Jamaica. So the crime plan is included in Plan Secure Jamaica. But here's what it was lacking. It has to be measurable, attainable, reasonable, affordable, and has to be published. They didn't do any of that, right? So what happened is that in 2020, they were forced to now put deadlines, targets, legislation, action, and so on and so forth, the things that they're supposed to do. Now, let me reveal to you, people of Jamaica, and this is bordering on a subject that the fireman and I and Jeffrey Tavares and others have been discussing for quite some time now, and we pretty soon we will take some action. There is something called the Proceeds of Crime Act. And essentially what it is that you have to explain your wealth, right? Now, they were supposed to deal with this legislation. The deadline is December 2022, this month. But guess what? It won't pass. They will not meet this deadline. You know why? Because they're having issues with it. Simply because politicians are now going to be drawn into this. So, for example, if a man have a big house on a hill and him cannot explain where that, how he came into that, he never win the lottery, nobody bequeathed him nothing, right?
So, Mr. Rattigan,
yeah.
Sorry to cut you in. So like how a certain politician send government land in St. Anne. Anyway, Jeffrey, behave yourself.
Well, the thing is, if you cannot explain your wealth, then the burden, what happens is the government will, like for example, let's say fireman live at Beverly Hills, him have 2 BMW, him have a Mercedes, him have a business, and them say, but wait a minute, how, and them look on him taxes, and them don't see him declare how him get this money out, the source of it, then the government can come and seize it, and then what they can do is say, what will happen is that the burden will shift from the government to fireman. Fireman will now have to explain where and how he got the proceeds to purchase all of these things. The politicians are afraid of this because a lot of them, and Jamaican people, don't know me talk the truth. Don't know. There are some decent, hard-working politicians in Jamaica on both sides of the aisle. But there are some criminals. And they are fighting not to get this thing strengthened because they will be exposed. So what we need is, we need the Prime Minister to come out and say, listen folks, I am running a transparent, forthright government. And so we cannot operate under a cloud of corruption. So therefore, we have to strengthen this. And everybody, starting with him, should say, we are going to subject ourselves to whatever investigation it will take to prove that whatever wealth we have accumulated over the years, we have done so legitimately, legally, lawfully. And that is going to be a problem.
Well, you know, it's very interesting, very interesting, and you know, these are some of the things that we have seen over the years where they're basically laws and all sorts of things drafted and passed in order to protect certain people in Jamaica. If you even go back to slaves, go back to some of the laws on our books here in Jamaica, even to do with cattle and so on. In a lot of cases, cattle have more rights than even human beings, because cattle was a part of the slave owner, you know, jurisdiction, so to speak. There was so the cows and all of that. It's basically clearly written there as to how you should deal with these, while the masses basically don't have that kind of protection. So again, I'm agreeing with you, Rebel, that you know.
So that is why this government, along with the Prime Minister, keep on having a field day to infringe on the fundamental rights of the Jamaican people. Based on all of these highfalutin and fromfalutin laws that they have.
One of the first things, Jeffrey, one of the first things, and we have to understand this, you know, whether it is by way of just where the people are, or a level of stubbornness to move from there, or it is because of clear partisan politics. The truth is that a lot of us Jamaicans are prepared to have our rights abridged and abrogated in order to say, listen, we are supporting whatever measures the government deem fit to take to fight, to quote unquote, fight crime. And it happens because a big lie, in my opinion, a big lie has been told to the Jamaican people that in order to have proximity and saturation of police in any local across Jamaica, you have to have a state of emergency or its cousin, Zozo. And it is just simply not true. You can have, and I have to repeat it, call his name over and over, the Federation chairman himself remind us quite recently that, listen, we don't need Zozo. What we need is what is called proximity policing, meaning that the police are in the community. If there is a need for a particular geographical space to be flooded with police, and if the police need additional help from army, you can do that in our way. But the police must be the lead in all of this, because the police is the primary law enforcement outfit right here in Jamaica, land we love.
Let me just jump in and say this. Big up, big up to Chairman Corporal Ryan James. That man is a dedicated, honest, upright, hardworking public servant. That man, Jamaica people, I want to understand and I want to rally and support behind this man. This man is fighting. He's fighting for his members to have the tools, the equipment to protect you. They don't have, and you've heard me say this before, and he said it himself in public, they don't have ballistic vests, ballistic helmets, they don't have cars, they don't have collapsible batons, they don't have pepper spray, they don't have body cams, they don't get a good salary.
He went further. He said they don't have petrol.
They don't have petrol.
And they don't have stationery to write on. He went further.
And I'll say this, just this week I got invoices from a senior police friend of mine who's asking the diaspora to buy 3 car engine for fix the car them in the station because them just sit down there and not moving, and they say we can't respond. Yet, several weeks ago, a JLP senator, the gentleman in charge of Grace Kennedy, Dan Webby. Yeah, he came out and said, of the 92 billion Jamaican dollars allocated to the Ministry of National Security to take care of all of these things, only 17.5% had been spent. Only 17.5% spent. Now I'll turn your attention to the consensus on crime, because there's a section called Fundamental Decisions and Priorities. And it says here, the transformation of the JCF is one of the most important components of our agreement in facilitating effective transformation and modernization. We agree to prioritize the following. And I just mentioned just a couple, not all of them. Increasing the headcount strength to 14,000 by June of this year. It's at 12,000. It's not 14. Upgrade mobile fleet that is tracked and properly maintained by December 2021, a year ago. Them supposed to have this. And I still have policeman calling me, say, boy, Ratty, help you out, we need 3 engines. We need 3 engines so we can patrol and protect the people of Jamaica, because we can't respond right now. Then physical infrastructure of stations and facilities refurbished or rebuilt by December of last year. Corporal Chairman James said that, listen, sometimes the policemen have to go use the bathroom in a bar or some private premises because they don't have proper facilities. No, you can go through this document, and don't take my word for it, people. Look up consensus on crime and look at the deadlines.
I'm going to share this with you, Mr. Rattigan. And our listeners. Just to piggyback on what you said there just now as it relates to how lacking the police officers are in terms of resources. A community in South Manchester that is called Asia, a peaceful community there. The former member of Parliament, Michael Stewart, and a former caretaker councillor, Mr. Ian Williams, they joined forces together some time ago. This is before 2020 because Michael Stewart was voted out in 2020. So it was before that. And they lobbied and they got one car, one police unit for the Asia police station. Up to a couple of months ago, I don't know if it has been rectified because I raised Kane about it because he was on my program talking about it, and we raised Kane and we gathered that the police office, that the car was taken to the Mandible police station to be doing regular routine patrol at the Mandible police station. Now, after raising the matter publicly, well, I don't know, I'm not going to claim that it's because of me. But certainly, information reached me from the said source that the car was returned to the Asia police station. Subsequent to that, they had removed it again. And what happened since that, we have seen where murder and robberies and other criminal activities have been taking place in that community of Asia in South Manchester. It's something that the new member of parliament, I had tried to reach out to him before, but I haven't gotten had any success. That's a gentleman by the name of Mr. Chin. He is now the member of parliament for that community. The residents there are reporting to me again that he is missing in action. He is nowhere to be found since he won the election in 2020. So these are the things that the police officers are facing, and by extension, the people in these communities, these deep rural communities that have now transformed into hotbeds.
Oh, okay. Brother Tavares, you have something you want to say?
Yes. Yeah, before I go, we must say to the chairman of the Police Federation, get well soon.
Yes.
We are with you every step of the way. We will continue to speak out. We'll continue, advocate and everything like that for the police and for the Federation. All the best. Mr. Rattigan and Mr. O'Brien, I am here listening.
All right, my brother.
Give somebody else a chance.
All right.
Good, and we'll talk after we finish here.
I just got one. But listen, you just mentioned something about that I must address. This idea that the state of emergency, that and the government, they tout it and said, yes, because when we go into a neighborhood, the murder rate decreased tremendously by 50%, 60%, 70%, some even close to 80%. What they don't tell you, folks, is this. They are creating more hotbeds in the country because if there's a spot where there is an increase in crime, murder rate, for example. First of all, when the police are coming in, they tell them they're coming in. They said, oh, we have declared a state of emergency, effective immediately or effective tomorrow, whatever, or Zozo. And then the criminals disperse. And they move to neighboring parishes. And they set up shop, sometimes in deep rural areas. Some of them people never even see a gun in them life except on TV. And these men with the money and the guns and everything, they go and they recruit some of these unemployed youths. And they form gangs, an extension of the gang where they left from. So when the police move from that area where they have the SOE, these criminals go back. But guess what? Now you have 2 hotspots or 3 hotspots, the one that these criminals left to go and create somewhere else. The other thing is that when they tell you that the crime rate has decreased by 70% in an area where they have a state of emergency, ask them this. Did it increase elsewhere? It decreased here, but did it decrease in another parish? And you will find the answer to be yes. So don't make them play a shell game with you, because at the end of the day, the murder rate is high. All they're doing is dispersing the criminals and their criminal activity to elsewhere. So you find that, they may be in St. James, and then they go in and do a state of emergency in St. James. The criminals, they move to Hanover, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, St. Anne. They set up shop. Now they've created more hotspots. And now, because of the limited resources, the police have to move now to go to one of those hotspots. Guess what? No, you've had like 4 or 5 hotspots created, and the one that you were protecting, you have to leave, and now they're back there where they started.
Indeed, it's referred to commonly as there's a more sophisticated name to it, but for layman term, we call it a ballooning effect, and everybody know what that is. You squeeze a balloon at one end and it bulges at the other.
Right, but the volume I hear is still the same. The volume that I hear is still the same. So what happened is that whenever they tell you that, and I can't believe that the Governor General who's signing off on these things, him no ask them question, yeah, and him have a staff who's responsible for educating him about these things. And he's not asking the right question, which is like, okay, if you say that the state of emergency decreased crime in this area, then did it decrease crime nationally? What's the crime rate nationally? Is it decreased or is it increased? And when it's an increase, him supposed to use him wheezy and say, well, wait a minute. If the crime rate gone down right here, but nationally it's still high, that means crime are committed elsewhere. Where are yeah? Tell me about the other places. And then it's supposed to say, we can't sign this because this is not a crime plan. This is not a crime plan. They call it enhanced security measures. What enhanced? What security? What measure? It's none of them things there. None of them. People, don't be fooled. Listen, I would be willing to help them to draft a crime plan, and I mean an outstanding one. I would be willing to bring in resources at my disposal. People from other countries were willing to come and help. I'd be willing to do that. But you know what? It's not going to happen because we're too proud. That to a fault, we're too proud. And we're so proud that we cannot say, you know what? We've made a mistake. And so we're reaching out to the diaspora, and whatever help you guys can provide us with, we will. Look, NYPD, the mayor of New York promised them help this year with illegal weapons and drugs. Saying him going to help them with that. Where the help there? Where there? We in the diaspora, we stand ready to come home and help our people to develop our country in the spirit of Vision 2030. We're 8 years away from it. But watch, it will only be that. It will only be a vision.
You mentioned one P there, too proud. But I dare say, Mr. Rattigan, that there may very well, Mr. Rattigan, the rebel, there may very well be another P. We're too political, because already you, myself, and Jeffrey, we have already been painted that, listen, hear them PNP boy there. That is what is happening, and that is what is basically killing the situation. I am absolutely sure that no one or a lot of people will not remember how I started my opening commentary this afternoon by critiquing and disagreeing vehemently with the opposition PNP.
Look, let me tell you something. When I left Jamaica, let me rephrase that. I never voted in Jamaica. When I left Jamaica, I was too young to vote. I have no interest in politics in Jamaica. I have all the interest in the world in the Jamaican people and the development of Jamaica. And I don't care which party. Just take care of the people. But I will also criticize the PNP because guess what? They signed off on the states of emergency in 2018 and I believe in 2019. And then they turn around and now they're complaining and they're protesting about it. They supported it. And for them, I think it's disingenuous for them now to get up and start making, I mean, it's fine because they realize their mistake. But they should stand up and say, look, we supported it and it was a mistake because the thing turned out to be a flop.
Indeed. I think so. I think they should basically do their mea culpa thing.
Yeah, there is enough sin to go around. They should not stand up pretending to be holier than thou and say, well then, yes, we don't agree with it, blah, 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 and give these grandiose speech. In fact, if I were Mark Golding, Peter Bunting, I think it was 2 Fridays ago, or last week Friday in the Senate, when they were debating it, all I would have done, I would have just got up and said, gentlemen, the court has ruled, and it has ruled that the way the states of emergency have been implemented is unconstitutional. And therefore, we have to respect it. We're a country of laws. We have to follow the rule of law. We have to do good governance. And therefore, there's nothing more for me to say. And that's the end of that. But they got up and they made all kinds of speeches, forgetting that they supported the same thing. So when somebody say, me a PNP, I think they have it wrong. I'm a Jamaican. And I don't care which party in power. All I want is, you see this thing behind me, the zinc fence, and the Mashup Road, and the boardhouse. And that's where me come from. Me not forget where me come from. And at them people that me a fight for. Me have to do it. Can't turn me back on them. Mama Del, thank you so much for investing in your son's education. Because of what you did and the power of the Almighty and the community and my father. May the writer so can critique what go on, can assess what go on, and point out to the government that, listen, you need to change your ways. There's nothing wrong with critiquing the government because it's a democratic principle. It's a democratic principle, right? And so what they should be doing is taking the advice and say, look, you know what? This man makes sense, and therefore let's just do something and try and help the people, whatever that entails, right? Based on the things that I'm complaining about. But to turn it into a political football and say, well then, and kick it and say, I'm a PNP and this and that, and I'm a sympathize and this and that. No, they're obscuring the issues because even when them say that, and when them finish say it, them people here, them still a get $9,000 a week. Them still don't have no medical facilities. Them still don't have no road. Them still don't have good education. Them still don't have no housing. Look house, right? I saw my house was looking. In fact, I said, look, even this similar, look like Waterhouse to me. Look like Penwood Road, right at the corner of Penwood Road and Penwood Crescent. Penwood Road between Ashoka Road and Varma Road. That's where that place look like, right? Them people still a suffer. And it grieves me that people are going to talk about politics. We don't need to take the money we not get from donor agencies and donor countries and the taxpayers' money in taxes. Take it and take care of the people then. Then you can't talk to me.
Indeed. I also want to pay homage to my own parents, as you just did to yours as well, Mr. Rattigan, the late Auntie Winnie and Papa Adrian. Tried their best, and we are happy that they did whatever they could to ensure that we are now in a position where we can impart the knowledge that we receive by their hard work. And here we are now. But Wilford,
let me just say one quick thing, that fireman. Let me just before I forget it, cause my blood are boiling now. There are some who would say that, well, you guys just talk, and nothing get done. Well, let me quickly address that. My program and your program, and Jeffrey Tavares' program, we discuss the issues and we provide solutions. We provide solutions to the government and to the people. Like, for example, I'm filing under the Access to Information Act, and I'm telling people how to do it. By the way, people, if you need information from any ministry, Google Access to Information 2002 and then put the ministry, because every ministry has a point of contact to provide you with the information, and then it lays out right there how you can get the information. But for those of them who say that, well, we're not talk, well, the first thing is this: you cannot get any movement, or you cannot get any modicum of progress unless you understand the issue.
And you must verbalize it.
You must understand the issue before you can move forward. And so once you educate the people, you're empowering the people to ask questions, right? And then we're doing what we can. But at the end of the day, people in Jamaica are uno me attack to now. Forget about diaspora. Uno need for do to get the attention of the government. Nothing violent, nothing illegal. But uno need to take action so that the government can understand that you understand what's going on, and service delivery is a must, right?
Indeed. And as we talk about that, I had Mr. Audley Gordon, the Executive Director for the National Solid Waste Management Authority, on Tuesday, where he talked about the rollout of 50 additional trucks that they got, that the Emir received. In my opinion, as I said to him, it was certainly a shame that they wanted 100 trucks, but the government were able to offer a reprieve to the financial sector of $3.5 billion, but all they need was $1 billion to buy the 100 trucks, and they were only able to get 50. Nonetheless, those trucks are out there, but I want to put this out there, Mr. Rattigan, and you know, I make no bones about it. I think Mr. Gordon Audley, I think he tried. He tries his best. I think he's a hard-working public servant. But there's something that don't go down well with me, and it is something that I must talk about.
Go ahead.
And I'm going.
We only have 4 minutes.
And I'm going to put it in a two-pronged approach. One, the government purchased 50 trucks with Jamaican taxpayers' dollars. You know what they do? They have a big handing over ceremony and create one whole excitement before them basically put the truck out, the truck them go work. What are you doing? Where else in the world this happen where you buy some trucks? Whether it be garbage truck, water truck, or whatever you have ceremony. And I'm saying this across the board. It is something, if we're talking about Vision 2030 and we're moving Jamaica to a particular point, these are things that we must get rid of. The other thing that irks me in a big way is something that I see politicians done in the past continue to do. They give poor people what is called a whatever basket they call it, right? With 2 pounds of flour, 2 pounds of cornmeal, 1 dirty girl, that's a tin mackerel or whatever, and so on. And them out there take picture how they're giving this little food to poor. It's embarrassing. Even the houses that the Prime Minister is giving out, right? The indigent houses are house for poor people. And you basically have it out there for line and television. GIS carrying this and so. It is embarrassing to our people. Why do we have to do these things? Somebody is in need of a little house. And you use taxpayers' money. Not the money out of your pocket, you know. The Prime Minister uses taxpayers' money to build some indigent houses. And they have it all over television. For sure, say Miss Mary never live nowhere. We have to give her one little house. Or Mass John never live nowhere. We have to give him a little. We must stop doing these kind of embarrassing things to our people.
Well, let me jump in here, Fireman, and say this, that if think about it, the people who would say that, well, it's just talk. Think about it. 2 things. One is, if we don't talk, what will happen? The people won't be educated. And number 2 is, what do you bring to the table? Since it's talked. Because when I was an FBI supervisor, one of the things I would do when I got my team together, I would tell them that, look, it's part of my responsibility to bring forth proposals and ideas and initiatives. It's your job to do the same, but also criticize mine. And I wanted to openly criticize it. Don't do it behind my back. Do it when we have the meeting. But when you criticize me, make sure you have a plan. Don't criticize me and say my plan no good. And then when me say, where's your plan? You don't have one. You cannot criticize me if you don't have a plan. So for those of you who would say that, well, you know, it's talk, show me your ideas. Tell me your ideas. I'm talking to the people to say, listen, people, me not talk to the 80-90% of who neglected and forgotten and disregarded. And here are some of the things you can do. Access to information. Demonstration legally and otherwise. So somebody will call me. Hold on there. Caller, you're on the line. Reason with Rattigan. You're with the fireman. Talk to me.
Yes, Mr. Rattigan. Quick question for you. I'm going to remain anonymous.
We don't have much time now. We only have a few seconds.
Why doesn't someone, when the slave owners lost their slaves and sued the crown for lost profits or lost property, they got reparations?
True.
Why can't someone in Jamaica bring a class action suit against the people that have been harmed in those communities and bring suit against the Governor General or someone else in the ministry?
Straight out of the heavy beat vault to your ears.
Ladies, lovers of the music, it is here, the brand spanking new album from Ed Robinson and Ian Sweetness, a tribute to Teddy Pendergrass. Amazing. 10 blazing tracks, two amazing singers going hit for hit, classic for classic. A tribute to Teddy Pendergrass, Ian Sweetness.
Thank you all for listening. Come next week, we'll try and get some video clippings or some live video from Regent Rattigan. We do apologize for that. And just a reminder that come tomorrow, join Jeffrey Tavares, Wilfred Rattigan, and Conrad O'Brien. We'll be live on the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel to speak about the corruption in Jamaica. How much $1 billion of Jamaican taxpayers' money, Petrojam money, and the education money that's going down the drain. What happened to the lawsuit or the case against former Education Minister Royal Reid and former Minister of Energy for the Jamaica Labour Party with the Petrojam money? $8 billion went down the drain. We're going to speak about that. So join us tomorrow at 7 p.m. on the Jeffrey Tavares Make We Talk YouTube channel. Like, share, and subscribe just to let everyone know that the music that was played inside Regent Rattigan, Jeffrey Tavares, our Make We Talk with the Jeffrey Tavares do not own the copyrights. Thank you all. Like, share, and subscribe. And join us tomorrow at 7 p.m.